Have you ever thought about the difference between someone you just work for and someone you would actually follow? Yeah, it's way more than just a title on an org chart. Today, we are going to dig into the real essence of leadership, what it is, how it works, and what it takes to genuinely inspire a team. So let's get right into it.
Seriously, think about it for a second. We've all had bosses, right? The ones who give orders. But have you ever had a leader? Someone who gives you a purpose? You see, a boss demands that you comply. A leader earns your commitment. And that fundamental difference, that is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to nail down that difference between a boss and a leader. Then, we'll look at how our ideas about leadership have evolved. After that, we'll break down 3 core styles, figure out how to measure effectiveness with a pretty powerful grid, and finally, we'll pinpoint the qualities that really define a great leader.
Okay, let's start with that first absolutely crucial distinction. What does leadership even mean?
Here it is, right at the core. Leadership is all about influencing people to strive willingly toward a common goal. And that one word, willingly, that changes everything. It's the difference between just punching a clock and actually believing in the mission.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. A manager administers, a leader innovates. A manager is focused on systems and control. A leader, on the other hand, is focused on people and inspires trust. See, a manager has subordinates who do what they're told. A leader has followers who choose to follow them. And here's the kicker. You could totally be a manager without being a leader. And sometimes you can be a leader without being a manager.
So if leadership is all about this influence, how have our ideas about it changed over time? Well, as it turns out, our understanding has gone through this really fascinating evolution.
So way back when, people believed in what's called trait theory, the idea that leaders are just born, not made, that they're gifted with these inherent qualities. But, that felt a little too simple. So then the thinking shifted to behavioral theory, which said, hey, wait a minute, leadership is a set of skills you can learn. It's about what you do, not just who you are. And finally, situational theory kind of brought it all together, suggesting that the best leaders are adaptable. They change their style to fit whatever moment they're in.
Diving a little deeper into that behavioral theory, it really boils leadership down to 2 key actions. First, there's consideration. That's all about focusing on people, building trust, and showing respect. And then you have initiating structure. This is about focusing on the task, defining roles, and driving toward the goal. The real magic happens when a leader can master both of these. So what do all these behaviors actually look like in the real world? Well, they generally fall into 3 pretty distinct leadership styles. You can almost think of these styles as being on a spectrum, or maybe a slider. On one end, you've got the autocratic style, where the leader has all the control. Right there in the middle is the democratic style, where control is shared with the team. And then all the way on the other end, you have laissez-faire, where the team has almost complete freedom.
Let's break these down. The autocratic style, it's awesome for crises when you need fast, decisive action. But if you use it all the time, it can totally crush morale. The democratic style is great for building up your team's skills and morale, but it does take more time and compromise, so it's perfect for creative projects with a solid team. And laissez-faire, it's the go-to for a team of self-motivated experts who really thrive on autonomy. But be careful, without that built-in structure, it can easily turn into chaos.
So the big takeaway here is that each of these styles is a tool in a toolkit. Recognizing them in the leaders around you, and even in yourself, well, that's the first huge step toward becoming a more effective and adaptable leader. Finding that perfect balance, that sweet spot between driving for results and supporting your team, that is the ultimate challenge. But luckily, there's a tool for that. It's called the managerial grid.
The managerial grid helps us visualize leadership on 2 really simple axes: concern for production on the bottom and concern for people on the side. By scoring a leader on each of those from 1 to 9, we can pinpoint their exact style within 5 key categories.
Let's start down here at the bottom left, at position 1-1. This is impoverished management. You could call this the zone of indifference. Low concern for results, low concern for people. It's really just about doing the absolute bare minimum to stay off the radar. Okay, now let's jump all the way over to 9-1, which is task management. Here, it is all about the bottom line. Super high concern for production, but very low concern for people. This is leadership as a machine, where human needs are pretty much secondary to efficiency.
Now let's go up to the top left corner at 1-9.
This is the country club style. This leader has a really high concern for people, but a low concern for production. They're focused on creating a happy, friendly atmosphere, but often it just leads to a really nice place to work where not a whole lot gets done.
And finally, we get to 9-9, team management. This is the sweet spot, the ideal balance, high concern for people and high concern for production. It's built on this belief that a committed team that shares a common purpose will always achieve the best results.
All right, so we've explored the theories, we've gone through the styles, and we have a framework for effectiveness. But what does it all really come down to? What are the core ingredients of a great leader?
It really starts with a strong inner core, things like self-confidence, decisiveness, and just the mental and physical health to handle the role. Then, it's all about how you connect with other people through empathy, clear communication, and a real sense of purpose. And finally, it's about making sound judgments by blending your knowledge with objectivity.
So, at the end of the day, leadership isn't just a title or a position on a chart. It's a combination of your behavior, your style, and your character. It's a choice you make every single day in how you interact with and influence the people around you. Which really brings us back to the most important question of all. What kind of leader will you choose to be?